A huge obstacle to getting humanitarian aid into Gaza are the border checks Israel insists on making before trucks are allowed to enter. Let's take you through the process. You see, supplies arrive in Cairo on cargo ships at Port Said or by plane at Al Arish airport. Well, aid trucks due to enter Gaza are checked by Israeli authorities at Nitzana, but they then have to cross back into Egypt, where they head to the Rafah crossing. Well, the last time any truck was allowed to pass through Rafah was February the 4th. Or they go to the Israeli-controlled Karam Abu Salam crossing for inspection and enter there. Now, before the war began, around 500 trucks a day crossed into Gaza through Karam Abu Salam. Almost none are getting through now. Let's speak now to Abdalwahab Hamad. He's the Gaza office manager at Juhoud for Community and Rural Development, a local NGO. Joins us on the phone from Rafah. Good to have you with us. Let me start with a basic, obvious first question. Is any aid getting into Gaza right now?
Thank you very much for bringing me in, Sami. Actually, there has been a deliberate delay of a humanitarian aid trucks by Israel, especially during the past few days at Kerem Shalom crossing, where the aid is received by the UN site and a consortium led by UNRWA and run in partnership with other UN agencies and international NGOs. Now, this is the denial of access to food, water, and basic necessities. This by itself constitutes a serious violation of international law and humanitarian principles. Now, during the past few weeks, the aid coming into Gaza we're getting it through into Gaza is very limited. We speak roughly of 80 to 100. We used to speak about an 80 to 100 trucks of aid received on a daily basis. Now, during the past few days, no aid is getting through into Gaza. This makes this undermines the already vulnerable conditions of Palestinians now in Rafah, in the midst of the last remaining sanctuary in Gaza. Rafah, which is a very small strip on the Egyptian border and which shelters over 1.5 million displaced Palestinians. Now, our plight here is unimaginable, with some residing in tents and others seeking refuge in makeshift shelters. These displaced individuals have endured these dire conditions for months now. Rafah also, as you know, lacks major hospitals, only relying on extremely small clinics, primarily for basic medical assistance and occasional referrals for the treatment. Now, the Israeli threat also to enter Rafah would have severe consequences, and it will be a blatant violation of international humanitarian law. Currently, Rafah stands as the largest refugee camp on earth, and any Israeli military action also here would be legally reprehensible. Now, the situation is further complicated by conflicting Israeli statements hinting at ethnic cleansing against Palestinians. Actually, they have said it explicitly many times, urging Palestinians to evacuate. Some have already, by the way, some Palestinians have already returned to homes in central Gaza, while others just remain in Rafah, unsure of safe haven.
Okay, let me jump in, because you've mentioned a few important points. One I want to pick up on is you said, if I've understood correctly, you said no aid has entered Gaza for the past few days. Is that in fact the situation? No aid at all has entered Gaza. I mean, how long can people go on for before food runs out?
Well, actually, I think it's imperative for international organizations and those who are engaged in relief processes to tell the civilians here in Gaza about their limitations. So people plan their life according to the limitations of those engaged in the relief processes. This is so important. People now in the north, they eat animal food. The first statement made by Israel before the war began was halt to food, to water, and to fuel. They're animals and we should behave accordingly. This is happening right now, alas. This is happening in the north, okay? In the south, we still can, we have very limited access to food, but at least we can have it. In the north, they don't, okay? They're starving to death. We have very limited access to water. I mean, safe drinking water. We speak roughly of 1 to 2 liters per person per day, with 5% coming from the central pipe, with the rest being in water tanks. It is disheartening and it is troubling to witness this much of negotiations over humanitarian guarantees and increased access to aid in exchange for the release of hostages. This would potentially dilute the urgency to put an end to the suffering in Gaza. It is troubling to witness the international community falter in such a grave crisis. This must end. This madness, this ravenous for killing, this killing for killing must stop.
You mentioned, if I could jump in again, you mentioned that some people have left Rafah, assumedly out of fear of a Israeli ground invasion. Where do they go? What is awaiting them? Because the north and central parts of Gaza, according to reports, have been destroyed even more heavily than the south.
Yes, it is disheartening because civilians now, they started to allocate themselves where is safe or not. Now, the illusion of safe designated area has just been shattered because people have been into unrelenting cycle of displacement and loss for the past 4 months. Rafah was declared, or it's the military claims to be a safe zone a couple of weeks ago. Now, they bomb everywhere, okay? Even in Rafah. During the past 5 days, like we had relentless bombardments all across Rafah, which is the military claims to be a safe zone. So now this shattered the illusion of safe-designated area. Civilians now, they live in constant fear and panic, particularly women and children. They have nowhere to go. And it's good to bring up this. Now, the conflict has reshaped the physical realities of Gaza, the physical landscape, and it has gone so far destabilizing Gaza's geotechnic foundation. Now, the destruction of Gaza's geotechnic foundation will be hindering life impossible for 2.3 million Palestinians living in the Strip. They've been hitting really deep in the ground, 50, 70, 60 meters. Now, this is it is distinguishing any resemblance of life for the people of Gaza, causing its citizens to evacuate. But nowhere is safe in Gaza. Even if they did evacuate backwards, saying to the middle of Gaza and to other areas, 65% of hospitals, the operating hospitals, stopped to operate already. They've been running very low of efficiency due to either being bombed, partially destroyed, or completely damaged. So even if yes.
All right. Thank you so much for conveying to us the picture there of what is transpiring